that's another thing. Like, I'm not so prideful. I'm not so egotistical as to say that we don't have holes in our game. We don't have things we need to work on. That's how you stop growing as a coach, as a team, as an organization, is by thinking you know it all, thinking you plateaued or you're the best or you're the greatest. Like, we will never be the best. Maybe we'll be the best in our area, be the best in Texas, be the best in America. But there's going to be another team out there who are harder than us, who have better tactics than us, who have better science than us, and who have done more research than us. If and when we come across those people, we'll learn from them and then progress there.
Welcome to Only the Greatest Podcast. If you're feeling stuck and unsure what to do next in your fitness journey, we might be what you're looking for. My name is Philip. I own and operate Otg Fitness, which is a private personal training gym on the south side of Houston in Webster. I do this podcast every week with my best friend, Daryl. We've been friends since third grade and working out together ever since. Also joining us today will be Sean. He's the one that makes this podcast not only sound great, but look good as well. Our goal here is to help Houston make its way up the ladder of health and fitness. So if you're in the Houston area and ready to become the greatest version of yourself, be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.
Deep, yeah.
Welcome to the Otg Podcast.
Ooh, look at that. Look at that. That's
There
nice. Young Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, like, man, I got a weird one. Was like, it's morphin' time, you know?
Hit us with the Power Rangers.
Yeah, man, that's my dream, you know?
I love it.
I quit everything I do right now.
I can see
like,
you as a Power Ranger.
Thank you. That's the biggest compliment ever. A
Well,
Power Ranger or
Yeah,
Batman?
what color would you be?
The green. The
Green? Oh,
Dragon Ranger.
Yeah,
I
Dragon
love
Ranger is the
dragons.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, was friends with him, to be honest.
Oh.
Yeah, I was friends with him. And he was the one guy that I got hunted down my whole life, like to meet him in person. Because just to tell him thank you for starting my martial art career, it starts there.
The Green Power Ranger.
The Green Ranger, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, see this scar right here on my chin? That happened at 4 years old at Chuck E. Cheese.
Okay.
Yeah, so I put my little coin in, and then some big old kid came and pushed me down. Hey, man, that's mine. He goes, oh, yeah, well, it's mine now. And he pushed me down. I hit them.
Was that like your first fight or what?
My first fight that I got smoked, you know? You know, after that, I was like, I need to learn how to do this stuff, you know? So the Power, so I'll be like, you know, they'd be teaching karate in the show, right? Like that's what they do when they're not Power Rangers. They're like doing karate and teaching the kids and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I was just doing whatever they're doing on screen, you know?
Is that how you started?
And that's how I started at 4 years old.
Well, why don't you just go ahead and continue? Tell us how it went from there, and then we'll just bring this thing in.
Yeah, so
we're good.
Yeah.
yeah, Sensei WIll started as a young boy at Chuck E. Cheese, and he got bullied off his little roller coaster thing that goes back and forth, the little car things, you know? So he pushed me off, and I had no defense. He was bigger than me, and I was scared. I didn't like it. I didn't like that someone could just do that to me, just take my things, just hurt me, split me open in my chin. So I was 4, and usually, you know, you don't start karate that young or martial arts, especially back in the 90s. I was born 91. So,
we're the same age.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, 91. That's what I'm talking about. 90s kids, man. It's the last real generation. Okay, it's the last real generation.
I like that.
So we were born before the internet.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes.
Yeah, so I was there when stuff was real.
I remember texting became popular, like when I was in high school.
In T9.
You know,
T9.
yes, I remember
bro,
the T9.
T9.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a whole, like, you know,
You
language.
try to explain that to kids now, and they're like, what are you talking
Yeah, dude. But once you learned, like you said, it was like a language. Like I remember learning T9, and I felt so cool. I was just like, dude, I feel like you were able to just like text and take 2 seconds. You look at the text. All right, cool. Send. It's already gone.
Yeah, you just like touch 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. And like, you should like, yeah, what are you doing with nothing? You know, looking at the teacher.
Yeah, dude, that's why. That's a crazy times. Anyways, so you're 4 years old, kid pushes you over at Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Now you're motivated.
And my father, so this is what happened. My father was a martial artist, and usually martial arts is passed down through generations, through you know, each son teaches their son, each mother teaches their son or daughters, you know. So my father was a Taekwondo martial artist, and he just did it that's what he liked to do. He didn't like sports. He didn't like anything. He just likes making money and whooping ass. You know, that's my dad.
That's my kind of guy.
Yeah, that's
my kind of guy.
Yeah, so and I'm always trying to be like him. So that's what I do, just make money, whoop ass. You know.
Dang.
So,
I never met my dad. Can I like put it in application for your dad or something?
Yeah, dude, my dad's the man. He's the best. He's the best. And he supported me throughout everything, my whole martial art career, my whole life. Anything I've ever tried to do, he's been there 100%. And I've been blessed like that. That's been my real superpower in my life, has been my parents. A lot of people, they were born into, worse circumstances and better circumstances, maybe, more money, maybe less money, but my parents were always there, and that's what I'm learning too as a father now. I'm a father of 2. I have a daughter that's 2 years old, 2.5, and I have a son who just turned 1 not too long ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's amazing. And I've always looked forward to being a parent because of how my parents, it seemed to like their life was always fun being parents. That's how it seemed, that my parents are always having a good time being our parents, versus like we're a hassle to them. And I had the whole football team over, had the karate team over. My sister was like a dancer; she had the dance teams over, and so our house was completely full. And it all started, with my father and with my mom. And she was born here in Texas. My father came from Mexico. They met. I'm a first generation Mexican. Or no, I think I'm second generation Mexican. Yeah. Second generation Mexican. My kids will be now third generation, So we're very proud to be that, to be here together. And it started with him. My martial art career started with him showing me Bruce Lee movies, trying to get me toughen up. I was like a big crybaby, get pushed over a lot. He didn't like that. He's like, man, he needs to be more aggressive. And my mom said, well, I don't want him to become some bully, go and start fights because he's so angry or he can't control himself or whatever. So he was like, well, I did martial arts, and he's going to give him a structure. He's going to give him a discipline. I'm going to teach him how to fight. So my dad taught me how to fight, how to throw my first punches, kicks, knees, how to really do somebody in, if you should say. But he made sure that he put me in a structure of martial arts where I learned discipline, respect, number one. Loyalty, honor, dedication, perseverance, indomitable spirit. So those are the things that he really wanted to do for me, is to instill those kind of disciplines and those kind of life philosophies. And my mother too, she was at every single practice. She never missed a practice. And I'm also her first boy. So, this first boy
the
is connection. I'm almost boy, So it was great. She's at every practice, and after every single practice, she made me come home and practice at home. And then I would come practice with my father at home. And then we do a lot of katas and the arts of the karate and stuff. And I would come back and do the fighting and the kumite and the sparring with my father. And then I got bigger. I was 185 at 14 years old.
Dang.
So I hit my growth spurt early.
How old were you when you entered these structured martial arts classes?
5 officially. 5, so it was like that same year. Basically I was 4 when this happened in my chin, and then I moved over. I turned 5 and started karate officially. With a real structure, a belt system, all that kind of stuff.
Went back to Chuck E. Cheese looking for that kid.
Oh, yeah. I went back. Could never find him, I went back to my whole child. I was like, I see that kid again. I'm going to get him, But, and it's funny how martial arts gives you so much confidence as a child, because right when I was like gold belt, which is the second belt. So you get white belt, you do your hi-ya, your front kick, your punch, your move, and then you just have to kind of perform that. Make sure it's really about listening, follow directions, and your focus, and being able to take this information, process it, and try to apply it. You're a white belt. You're not going to do it perfect. Your punch is going to look that great, but as long as you're trying to better yourself, that's the whole purpose of martial arts. Bettering oneself, kind of like the fitness journey. It's the same thing. It's always like a lifestyle change. So you come in and you learn how to throw a few punches, and maybe you break a board or two, and you throw a cool kick and you snap something, and then all of a sudden you feel like you're you're a Power Ranger now, and you're Superman now, you're Batman, so you can step to everybody. And then all of a sudden that kid's like, hey, you do karate? Yeah, well, come over here, show me that karate. You're like, whoa, oh no, it didn't work. I thought they would be scared of me. But then they actually put a target on me, that I was a karate guy, and I was not a street fighter. Like, all that stuff doesn't work, So it has been a real big transition on my philosophy, my outlook on martial arts since being a little kid,
Tell us, fast forward a little bit from that time, the way you were thinking, and tell us about where you are now. Like, do you, obviously you own a studio, I'm assuming. And so tell us about that. Tell us like what kind of specialties you have, what type of competitions, stuff like that real quick. And then we'll we'll go from there.
Cool. Yeah. Like I said, when starting karate, I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the martial arts, and then I was introduced to Bruce Lee and more styles of martial arts: kung fu, judo, jiu-jitsu, all that kind of stuff. So I just started competing in everything and anything I could compete in: styles, weapon, katas, traditional, creative, point sparring, kickboxing, Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, everything I can get into. I learned and I tried. I just became a fanatic of martial arts. That bled into me wanting to compete more, and I started to do so in probably 7th grade, 8th grade, really competing in Muay Thai, kickboxing, and really harder combative sports like combat sports. Not what's today. There was like no fights happening back then. All my students, we do have a gym. And north side of Houston, Spring, Texas, House of Dragons, and we have the most active competitive youth program. So we're out there all the time, competing, fighting, whooping everybody. And my kids have way more fights than I do because they started so much young, and the sports have grown so much, and there's always a competition. There's a lot of karate competitions and jiu-jitsu competitions, but not like MMA and hard kickboxing and stuff. So that's been awesome, going from a student to a gym owner and now coaching teams, being able to, coach guys in the UFC, train up and coming amateurs on the local scene. I get flown out for camps to help UFC fighters in different places of the world. Martial arts has taken me all over the place. I lived in Thailand for a while, lived in Europe for a while, building up more martial art programs and whatnot. So from a practitioner to a fanatic to running a business and, growing real martial artists all around the world and top level fighters, has just been an awesome journey.
So it sounds like you really have a top down view of martial arts, like from all the different classifications and styles to the different levels, from professionals to kids. What's your favorite one? What's your favorite piece?
Oh man, that's been actually kind of like a revelation to me recently, because I always thought it was about the UFC and the ONE FC and Raw Tangs and doing the big stuff. But really what really makes me whole and full and makes me happy are the kids, because Raw Tang was a kid. He started at 9 years old. Sean Strickland started when he was in teenage years. I started when I was 5. There's all these people who start somewhere in life, and I get to be the start of their martial art journey. They get to be introduced to martial arts correctly at all levels because of my journey. And that's what really gets me going with my kids. It's the kid program. That's what gets me going.
Do you still compete yourself?
Oh, yeah. I'm fighting this month.
Wow. Where? Here? Houston?
No, in Orlando.
Orlando.
Yeah, I was supposed to fight last week, actually, in Austin for Karate Combat. Joe Rogan was there. Shane Gillis was there. A bunch of cool figures, it was a crazy card. Also, I was supposed to fight there, but things didn't work out the way it should have. So we rescheduled for this month in Orlando. And I passed up on Austin. I wanted to fight in Austin so bad because we're here. People could have come. It's a quick drive. I got all kinds of people all around Texas, and it would have been a fun event to have all the people come out. And I passed up on Dubai last month to fight in Austin this month. In April I passed up in Dubai to fight in May. Right, this is last week, and then I'm fighting the end of this month now.
Down in Orlando.
In Orlando.
How often do you do the fights, the competitions?
Oh well, for Karate Combat, we like to have them pretty frequent. So it's not one after another. It's maybe a month and then a month break, and then we go on another month. So we're really active in Karate Combat. We're growing really fast. Not only do I fight with the organization, I also help out with sponsorships and different types of in marketing and recruitment, stuff like that. So I want to see the organization grow, and I'm fighting on it not because I'm just a fighter. I fight. It's just something that I do. I'm like a marketing guy, gym owner, and I fight professionally on the side, basically.
Yeah, sounds fun. Well, speaking of fighting, kind of the main thing that I kind of wanted to ask you, and what we were discussing when we were talking before, is defining the difference between a martial artist and a fighter. We've used in our conversation here in the past 10 or 15 minutes, we've kind of used both terms, right? And so why don't you tell us how you would define each one? How do you define a martial artist? How do you define a fighter? And then maybe we can discuss some similarities, differences, how they complement each other, stuff like that.
Well, I think we can start, because this is a tricky question. And this is one that's one of the most common questions in the world today, in the combat's world today. Because you would see that if you're a UFC fighter, you go to MMA gym, like Extreme Couture or you're like a Sean Strickland, you'd be like a fighter, right? But Sean Strickland and Extreme Couture, they train martial arts. So they're all martial artists. But maybe they're not martial arts in the traditional sense of like he's a Taekwondo practitioner or a karate practitioner or a Kung Fu practitioner. And then that's where the two worlds divide. There's like an invisible line when it's all one, but it's like there's an invisible line that people have. There's a traditional world, quote unquote, and then there's the fight world, quote unquote. And I started coming up in the traditional world, where now today you can just come up in the fighter's world, where you're just going to go to a program and train straight MMA, which has become its own style in itself. So the difference, I guess you could say for me, the way I've learned is that martial arts, I'm considered like, I go by sensei, but I'm really ranked as a master. And what mastery means, not that you're the best fighter in the world, that you could beat everybody up. Because there's old men who are masters who cannot fight anymore, who cannot compete anymore, and usually just practice for self-defense and fitness. But martial art at mastery level is to expand an organization, grow an organization, spread martial arts, encourage people to join, encourage people to share, and that's what you as a master are doing. Like Yoda, he's always working with the Padawans, the young ones, right? Where Anakin comes slays all the young Jedis. Why does he kill all those kids? Because they're gonna grow up one day and become warriors. So they start with the philosophies of the martial arts and the character building, and that's what the mastery is supposed to be doing. Now, when you grow up as an instructor, you're kind of helping out, learning how to teach, and there's an art to teaching as well. So there's people who are great fighters and leaders in their gym, but not necessarily great teachers and can spread the martial arts necessarily. I've been around like top 8 fighters. I've been training with them, and I've seen how they coach and teach other people. I'm like, oh man, like that guy is not going to learn anything today. And the guy who's never fought before, who's a great teacher, can improve what this person's doing. Like Freddie Roach, he was a great boxer. He's a legendary boxing coach, but he had a horrible boxing career. And he's like, I'm better at coaching than I am at boxing. So he became a coach. So he would be considered master, like a master of boxing. You know what I mean? So master, and these are all just terms and titles. It don't really mean anything anyway. But that's the difference, is that you would have like a fighter who's pretty much fighting for yourself, fighting for your brand, fighting for your team, your country, whatever you have. But like they're fighting, and the martial artist is about spreading the martial arts and growing a community and in a lifestyle.
I feel like a fighter is doing the action. Yes. When an artist is understanding it.
Yes.
Yes. And I was thinking about this myself. I was like, it's funny how art is in the name. Artist. Like, what is an artist? Someone that can express creativity in a certain way.
Exactly.
And to express it, you have to understand it. Right. So it is very interesting. And I also grew up I played baseball. I've never done any type of martial arts. I don't know very much about it. But I grew up playing baseball, and oftentimes the best coaches are not the best players.
Yeah.
So it's very similar,
And baseball players, real quick, translate best to fighting.
Why is that?
Because their hand-eye coordination.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I can see that.
You can see that you can get a guy who's a black belt jiu-jitsu, his whole life. Like you get to the ground, he's gonna mangle you. But he can stand him up, and he can't even throw a punch. Sometimes I see high-level jiu-jitsu guys try to do Muay Thai or boxing. I'm like, dude, have you never? I mean, I'm not a black belt jiu-jitsu guy, but I know how to shrimp. I know how to guillotine. I know how to armbar. I know how to pass a guard. Like, you can't throw a jab. You know what I mean? Like, come on. And then same thing with the boxers. If a boxer's never kicked before, you throw it like you get Floyd Mayweather in here. I kick him one time in the leg. He don't know what to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Floyd Mayweather can't kick. Maybe he's been training kicks his whole life. Like Bud Crawford, he's a boxer. He trains like collegiate wrestling. He's almost a collegiate wrestler like level, because he knows that, hey, I can box anyone all day, but they take me to the ground. There ain't nothing I could do. So he wrestles so he doesn't get taken down, so he can knock you out.
It's almost like it seems like that's a lot. That happens a lot in combat sports too. Is like there will always be like this cross training of sorts. Like I know Lomachenko. I think his dad put him in like some type of dancing class, so he had better footwork. And I mean,
Ukrainian ballroom dancing.
Yeah, there we go. So you would see it like translate pretty heavily over into the ring with how he moves like no other boxer in his weight class has ever moved, really.
Right.
And it's pretty wild to think how important that is to have those two arts to make the full art of martial arts. Yeah.
Bruce Lee was a champion cha-cha dancer.
Really?
Yeah, ballroom dancer champion. Like he did dance competitions, and just improved his footwork tremendously and his coordination and the beats and the rhythm. Because fighting is music, Fighting, there's a rhythm, there's a beat. And that's how you catch people. That's how you knock people out. That's how you set people up, is by catching them, setting up the off beats, the off rhythm. You got to figure out the rhythm, establish your jab. There's a rhythm to that. He has a rhythm to that. You got to find yours, establish yours, and then figure out his. And then that's how fighting, that's the chess game.
And do you think having the artist, the coach, in the same corner as the fighter helps the fighter with the understanding, and that maybe that's why both are important, right? Because you're fighting, you're in the middle of it. You can't always maybe keep up with everything that's going on, but you have that outside eye looking in that has such a deep understanding, like as the coach. And maybe you see this like in your students, maybe they're in a competition and you help fill their gaps because you have such a deep understanding of the art that's going on in the ring.
Right, for sure. And even at my level, with such a deep understanding and experience, John Jones, GSP, Conor McGregor, they also have their coach when they're fighting. Mm-hmm. Like no matter, like that's the beauty of martial arts. Just because you are Khabib or you are GSP or you are the best in the world, you will have a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. LeBron has a coach. Kobe had a coach. Everyone, there's always a master. Mm-hmm. There's always a level to progress to. So to get black belt means you just got started. It's you went through from first grade to 12th grade. You graduate high school, you start your college. That's first dan, second dan, third dan, fourth dan. And then from there, you live life, and then it continues, and that's how you get higher rankings. But that's in traditional sense, And going back to the fighting stuff and the way he cross trains most people who are so violent do these. They paint, they do poetry. They're like Rodtang. You know who Rodtang is, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, he's the face of Muay Thai. So, you think of boxing, you think of Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, right? You think of Muay Thai, Saenchai, Rodtang, that he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's crazy.
He's crazy, right?
Yeah, I've watched a couple of his videos. He's pretty nuts. You said it a couple times, like Rodtang, but yeah, he's
the one. He's like,
that dude.
Right. So he's fighting tomorrow. Okay. He's fighting tomorrow, and ONE FC. Y'all check it out. I'm actually his agent. I'm the one who brought him over here for the first time in the United States. So that's how we got put on the map. House of Dragons.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was trying to film a TV show in 2019. It's kind of like The Ultimate Fighter, but for Thai boxers. So we brought all these guys from all around the world, fighting in different weight classes to compete in the house and to do all that, to fight a Thai boxer. We're going to get it sanctioned by the WBC. I was there in the headquarters in Bangkok during the pandemic. So that was the whole show, is that we're doing something during the pandemic. And we were working with the Council of Tourism in Bangkok and all that. And then we got shut down, 90% film. We 90% finished, it got shut down.
Oh, man.
90% done, and then got shut down. So that was one of the projects that was like a miserable failure of mine. But looking back on it, I met so many people along the way. I gained a lot of experience. I networked a lot to be able to get this thing happen. So those connections that I made are always with me now, and we do things together now. You know what I mean? So it's pretty great. And through all that, I became Rodtang's agent. The country opened up. I brought him over here. Then ONE FC, that's where he fights. This was the promotion tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. They're like, hey, man, like America went crazy. Thailand went crazy. There's news articles all over the place. Rodtang made to the States from the House of Dragons and blah, blah, blah. So that was like really cool, being like a small time gym owner, thinking big, want to do things big. And, I went into agency, and he was my first client that I represented.
Wow.
So it was Rodtang, my first guy.
Wild.
And now he's like, text Messi, and they send each other signed jerseys and stuff. He loves soccer too. Dang. But that's funny about the duality of the martial arts. You know how violent Rodtang is, how crazy he fights.
Yeah.
Well, we wake up in the morning and we're getting ready for the seminars, the seminar tour. We're all over the United States, and he's listening to Ed Sheeran, thinking out loud, And I'm like, dude, that guy's a monster. He would literally like kill anybody in this room with him, and he's like, oh baby, and waking up singing and dancing, and just happy, and singing Adele, you know what I mean, like Ed Sheeran, all like the super soft stuff, and in Thai culture, they all sing karaoke, all of them, all the baddest dudes I know, they all sing. And it's like they're calming. It's like part of the culture. Everyone does karaoke. It's an Asian thing too, but it's an Asian thing. But like in Thai, it's crazy when you see Thai fighters who are just kneeing people, slicing people up, just dropping people, being like the most violent human beings you to watch. And that's why Muay Thai is getting so much attraction so fast. That's what we've been trying to do, is push Muay Thai in the States. That's why I brought Rotang over, and I bring Sanchai over, Super Leg, all these big guys, all these big names who are homies of mine, want to spread the sport. And but it's so funny, man. They all love just to like relax and sing.
Do you think that the best people in the world have both the artist and the fighter inside of them?
Oh, you need that duality.
Is that what's making them the best?
That's because they are able to be that person right now. Like
they can flip the switch.
It's flip the switch. Like the Hulk in the Avengers versus the Hulk, however we've seen him before. You know, the Hulk in the Avengers, the secret is I'm always angry. He just turns into whatever. He controls his anger. Mm-hmm. He might be always this monster, but he has it under wraps versus he just hulked out, right? And that's what martial arts teaches you how to do, is teaches you not to hulk out. It teaches you how maybe you're going through depression. Maybe you like somebody just said something to you and you're just so pissed and you want to yell at your daughter or yell at your wife or something like that. It teaches you self-control. That's what martial arts is good for.
Yeah, my next question, you kind of already answered it, but maybe if you don't mind going a little deeper, is that the ability to flip that switch? Is that developed, or do you think people are born with that?
That's a great one, because in some of my fighters, I have to develop that within them. Within me, it's been hard, and I don't need to turn it on. I need to turn it off. That's with me. You know, I'm always on, so I gotta like tone it down a lot of times. But that's why I've been, as a coach, as a sensei, been trying to do better of and trying to find and trying to perfect the way to teach my students how to be that monster that's controlled. Because it's way better to be a monster that's controlled than to be a weakling who will be consumed by a monster. You see what I mean? To combat a monster, you need to be one. You know, to kill Dracula, you got to be a monster yourself. Just because you're a human, Van Helsing, doesn't mean he's not a monster in spirit. He's a savage. He's got to go after the number one monster, the number one baddest dude. Like, if you're going to be a fighter, you have to have that savagery. You have to have that kill instinct, you know? And if you don't do it, that's why it's not for everybody. You can have the killer instinct and not know it. That's the beauty of martial arts. You can uncover a lot of hidden things within yourself through martial arts and through self-discovery. And that's what martial arts is. It's all self-discovery. So when you're going through that journey, you're like, hey, man, I didn't know I could like kick so hard with a good technique. I got like naturally bigger legs. Look at this guy. He's got a bigger, faster twitch movements than me. I can hit harder, but he can hit me faster and more often and hit me in the right places. Like, that's why Bruce Lee doesn't he gets a lot of slack these days, because like he never fought and stuff. But think about Bruce Lee. He never came out and said, I'm competing with anybody. He actually said that directly. I'm not going to do that. I'm not teaching you how to compete for sport and for game. I'm teaching you, I'm going to poke you in the eye, punch you in the throat, kick you in the nuts, and get out, you know? So if Bruce Lee's that fast and he can produce that much strength, he'll take anyone's knee out. He'll kick anyone in the nuts. He'll poke anyone in the eye. And then you can't do nothing about those things. And then he'll beat you up from there, you know, in a theoretical fight, right? That's what he's doing. That's what I want to have with my students. He taught self-defense first, competition if you want to. That's what we do. Self-defense first, competition if you're really about it, because this life isn't for everyone. I encourage all my kids and all my students who are, young students, like 10, 5, 6, all the way to teenage years, to compete as much as possible. The older students who come, maybe you come to me, I'm like, hey, I really want to fight, I want to get off my list. Okay, well, come for like a year straight and let me see how like much you could go do sparring rounds with us. Come and get beat up in here where you get hit. We'll take it easy on it. Over there, it's like they're trying to do that to you, to disgrace us as a team, as all these things. So it's more than that. It's more than just getting in there and doing that. But for the kids, it's like you're going to face these bullies all the time throughout your whole life. So might as well get it done and do it and face these real fighters who are other kids your age, your size. You can get through this thing, and you're learning how to develop that switch, because they're so scared and everyone's so scared. And even at this level, as a pro level, it's always scary getting in there and fighting. GSP talks about it. Mike Tyson talks about it. And then you have that training to control those emotions and those thoughts and that fear, and you use it as fuel. And that's where that switch comes. So yes, you can develop that, and you are born with that. Some people are not, but it can be developed.
Yeah. I personally do believe that the best in the world, they're the people that are born with it, but then also learn it. So you have a lot of people that aren't born with it, but then they learn it. Like, let's talk about like the best baseball players in the world, right? They were born with a specific skill,
right,
and they put in the hard work, dedication, and had the right coach probably to help them show it to the world, right? Anyone can develop that over time. They might not ever be the best in the world, but they can be the best themselves.
Yeah, see, right? I think that for me, and I'm not a basketball fanatic, so, no one come at me in the comments and stuff. But I think that Michael Jordan was not, like, he was over average, of course. Average. He's like the average pro. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's one, that guy sucks, but he's in the NBA. Or that guy sucks, he's in the NFL. That guy sucks, and he's in the UFC. Yeah. There's still freaking pro.
There's so much better. Yeah, it's right? Outrageous.
So there's levels to everything, though, right? So let's just say in the pro, I think Michael Jordan was like the average, like, physical, God-born, made pro. But like you said, he developed that, put the work in. And then I think LeBron is like a natural freak, right? Like, he can move like that. He can shoot like he's got the coordination. He could pass. He could do everything. So he was God-given plus work. You know what I mean? But just because you're God-given and you work hard doesn't mean like you have that type of destiny or that thing's even for you. Because even everyone in basketball is trying to be like Michael Jordan, like Mike, right? And I used to want to be like whoever, like Muhammad Ali or like a champion or something like that. But now I'm learning that as much as I fight because this is what I was made to do. It feels wrong to not fight somebody. It feels weird to not be in the camp. It feels weird to not be training. I feel like if I'm not dying, I'm like, what did I do today? I didn't suffer today. I didn't get beat up today. I didn't beat someone up today. And like, that's in me. And trust me, getting older, I don't want to feel like that. Like, I need to do that, When I was 23, 24, I was like, I'll knock it down. Everyone was a hard spar every day, But like, now I'm like, guys, don't hit me so hard,
chill out.
Yeah, like let's just like learn some stuff. Let's do more katas and stuff, Like, let's do more of that. But no, I'm just kidding. But it is different as you mature, as you grow. Life is different. I'm a father. That's also different, And then plus, I've seen so many people have careers lost in the gym. We're trying to prove yourself as a fighter in the gym. You prove yourself as a fighter in a fight. That's where you prove. Because like, there's gym warriors where you can be like the best in the gym and then you go beat everybody up, and then you get out there, that same guy gets out there and he folds under the lights and cameras. And then you get the guy who's maybe getting tagged every day, maybe getting tabbed, man, he's doing all right, but he's like, man, I'm getting beat every single day, but like, I'm ready for it. Okay, my fight's coming out. I'm not getting beat today, not by this guy. Maybe by like my head coach, maybe by this guy who's my big brother, maybe this guy who's my captain, maybe this guy who's like a senior on my team, but not by this guy, not tonight. And then they go and take all those whoopings and come out and perform, So it's different, man. Everyone's different. That's the beauty of martial arts, is because like, you can teach someone how to throw a jab, but they're going to throw a jab in a bunch of different ways. They're going to step forward with it, they're going to step to the side with it, they're going to flick it, they're going to stiff it. You know what I mean? And it's just, martial art is beautiful in that way, because it goes to like the coaching, like you say. If I've seen this happen too, where the coach is like, well, you're going to fight the way I fight. I want you, I'm a ground guy. So like, boom, 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 go for the takedown. And then he's got another coach who's his strike, because you have a head coach, ground coach, striking coach. That's usually the trifecta that a coach would want to set up for. If you're not all three, you would want to have different looks. And it is good to bring in different looks. So then that person doesn't make like, kind of think you're the bad guy all the time, because you're like, hey man, you're always correcting, always making things work. And of course, that's also delivery and how coaches need to work. So maybe I like to hurry up, get up, do this, do that. Tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong. The other guy might be like, hey man, I know I did this wrong, but like, what did I do good? And I'm like, dude, and for me, that's baby stuff. But some people are like that. And some people, you need to be more encouraging than like critical, and that you get the best out of them that way. And I've learned that over the years of coaching too. So like the people who are like, yo, you got to do this way and my way, then I'm like, man, I don't like those kind of coaches. You know what I mean? Because I've even had losses on my style, on myself, when I be doing this and then I go over to another gym, I'm like, man, these guys are tagging me. I was like, you know what? Because I'm not throwing the stuff that I throw that confuses them. I started training with this guy and he's like, don't do this and don't do that. It's not going to work. Well, it's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for him. That stuff works for me. And that's what I do with my fighters. Like, look, dude, don't do what he's doing, because he's like this and he can do X, Y, Z. And you're like this and you're like that. So don't do that. You know what I mean? You're more compact, you're shorter, you have more power punches, get inside more. Get inside, pop, 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 go for the takedown. And I would even tell that coming from a striking coach, I want to tell anyone to take someone down unless it's better for you to take someone down than stand up with us because we are MMA fighters first. We are street fighters, self-defense. So we are Striking Academy, but we have to fight everybody.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, where it's like you mentioned finding what's good for yourself, right? And like in martial arts, and some people in general are born with the ability to flip the switch or whatever. But no matter what, you can learn the ability of doing the best for you. And that's what you're talking about, right? So your 100%. Job as a coach, as an artist, is to help the fighter find that thing that's best for them.
For them.
Right.
For them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it takes time to develop that.
Of course. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of trials and errors and a lot of figuring out because like you're going to come in there, okay, man, like this is what I see. Okay. You throw some stuff, whether you're high level or just beginning, like I can see your movements. To me, it's all about pattern of movements. So that's how I analyze everything. It's not about he's got a good right hand. Oh, he's got a good kick. I don't know how many times people from other gyms who come and train with me and they talked about their game plan. Like, oh man, I don't know if we game plan the best. I don't know. I kind of question my coach. What do you think, sensei? And they're questioning their coaching of this past weekend or whatever. And they're asking me, a different coach, what my thoughts
perspective.
Yeah. Perspective. I said, well, why are you watching for this kick? I was like, well, because they said, like, I watched his film, I watched all this stuff, and he threw a lot of kicks. He threw this one in particular. And I was like, okay, well, who told you that? Well, my coach, and we broke it down. I said, how many kicks did he throw in your fight? Well, he barely threw any kick, and I was waiting for exactly. Like, he did that last fight because his last fight maybe got a bunch of kicks off, and the guy before that, maybe with you, he knows that you're a wrestler, so he's not going to kick so you don't grab his leg and take him down. Maybe he's going to try and box. Did he box you? A whole bunch. Dude, he was staking me with jabs, trying to keep distance all day. Okay, why? Well, I was going to try to take him down. Yeah, I know that. And I even know who you fought. You know, he knows that. He knows you. You know what I mean? So this is like, why are you trying to do that game? That's what your game plan, because that's what your coach wants to do, because that's what you guys do. That's what the team does. But what about you as an individual today, right now? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's how I like to do it. Like, I like bring these guys in and for example, my brother, he just fought last weekend. Knocked the dude out first round, head kick, bam, smashed him. And now it was like, I'm so proud of that fight because it was flawless. It was literally a perfect fight. You know, he barely got touched. He smashed that dude. He pieced him up, took him out in one round, and it was all set up. It was like, you know, boom, boom. You know, we went in for the distance. He wanted to wrestle with us. We knew that. In MMA, like, everyone tries to take us down and taps us out. No one wants to stand and bang with us in MMA. In Muay Thai, we smash everybody. And any kickboxing, Muay Thai match, anything the Dragons enter is just purely striking, we smash everybody. So whenever we go MMA, they're like, okay, boom, 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 let's go to the ground. And the only ways we've really lost in MMA are just people laying on us and tapping us out, you know? So we have to work on our MMA on the ground a lot, which is what we're doing. So we're not shying away from none of that. We accept all challenges. We're fighting for the MMA belt in August, you know, my brother. So, hey, bring it on. Everyone who's watching, everyone who's watching. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring it on. Like, come try and take us down. That's what the guy he got knocked out. Come try and take us down. You know, we're working. And that's another thing. Like, I'm not so prideful. I'm not so egotistical as to say that we don't have holes in our game. We don't have things we need to work on. That's how that's how you stop growing as a coach, as a team, as an organization, is by thinking you know it all, thinking you plateaued or you're the best or you're the greatest. Like, we will never be the best. Maybe we'll be the best in our area, be the best in Texas, be the best in America. But there's going to be another team out there who are harder than us, who have better tactics than us, who have better science than us, and who have done more research than us. And then if and when we come across those people, we'll learn from them and then progress there. You know, so, and a lot of coaches are not like that, and that's the difference. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think it requires someone that can see all perspectives, like yourself, someone that's been through a lot of things, right? That's kind of like the best coaches have just been through a lot of different things.
Right.
They bring their experience into play, their understanding of the art, you know. And another thing that I wanted to touch on, you know, beyond the art is the discipline that is required, right? Yeah. So do you mind sharing a little bit about, you know, the role that discipline plays in martial arts specifically, and then we can also, you know, discuss on, I'm sure someone like yourself has done so many different things, so many different practices, different skills. Discipline is super important because you're still young, dude. At 33 years old, to have so many different abilities, you must have been really dialed in on each one of those things during that period of time, is what I'm assuming. Because sometimes people tell me that too, like, man, you know, like, you know, a lot of different things. It's just because when I was doing that thing, like, I was doing that thing.
Right.
And there was nothing else going on.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about how discipline leads into that.
Well, man, that's the beauty of martial arts. Once again, is discipline. That's what my parents put me in there, especially my mom. You know, it's just give me this structure, this discipline to whatever it is that you're doing. You go 100%. You never quit until you finish your mission. And that's the cool thing about I guess that's why I never quit martial arts because you never finish. Mm-hmm. So how I started it, can't stop it now. You know what I mean? And discipline has changed my life tremendously. And all the like traveling, right? No one just at the beginning when I took off for the first time by myself, me in a backpack, took off to Europe, and it was just 23 years old. And I sold my stuff and took off with a backpack and just traveled like Ryu from Street Fighter and just traveled with a backpack, training, finding martial art gyms, finding people all throughout Europe and just meeting people. And like that takes discipline, you know. It takes discipline to plan your stuff out. Oh, actually, I didn't have a plan. That's completely opposite. I went there with no plan. That was the plan. But it takes discipline to have a thought of what my goals were. You know, I didn't just go to vacation. I went to go see like martial arts studios, like to go visit these masters and these arts, you know, and like it had nothing to do necessarily with like combative arts where I'm going to use this in competition, like sword fighting, you know. It's not going to help me. I'm not going to have a sword in an MMA match, but my footwork is going to be there. My timing and range is going to be there. So I went over there and all around the world trying to learn martial arts, trying to get hone into my craft and my understanding of the origins and the history. So I'm not a fake, and my students don't surpass me. You know, I don't want that to happen. That's also keeps me disciplined on my students because I instill discipline into them. They continue to rise and grow and get better. And it's my competitiveness within myself and as a martial artist to always have them striving to be at my level. And if I stop and they continue, then they will surpass me one day. You know, and that's another cool thing about mentors that I've taken on throughout my life. That's not just outside of my parents, that they don't stop. They continue to grow. My parents continue to grow. My father's constantly learning. My mother's constantly learning. My teachers are constantly growing and learning. And maybe they started in Kung Fu, but now they understand that today's today. People do takedowns on the street now, you know, so they've moved from their traditional ways to incorporating more applicable ways. And, throughout like college, I didn't finish college. I actually dropped out, but I was disciplined to my path. That's what I was disciplined to. So see that a lot of people would think that like, oh, he dropped out, right?
So you're not disciplined because you dropped out, but in reality, that was a barrier to your actual goals.
100%. So it would be undisciplined of me to actually go to college.
Just stay there. Sure.
You see, it would have been undisciplined of me to go get a 4-year degree, invest my time and money to a institution that might get me a job that will keep me there from 9 to 5, that will not let me go and travel the world, discover myself, take risk and fail to learn from those failures. If I would have just played it safe, you know, then all my skills and all what I have inside me, what I believe I have inside of me, would have been maybe dormant or under some shelf under the bed somewhere.
Discipline and confidence are two things that I think go hand in hand that are often overlooked. Like you very rarely hear people talk about them at the same time, like together. But it's because of the confidence that you have in your own discipline is what has allowed you to be successful.
100%. Because the confidence is born from the discipline. Because like all my students come into me scared, meek, and then I structure them with discipline. And then they come in, they improve every single day by getting just their jab better, by turning their hand. Instead of punching like this, they punch like this, right? And instead of punching like this, they bring their shoulder up. And instead of punching like this, they bring this hand up now. So every day is a discipline of figuring out yourself, figuring out how to better yourself, and that bleeds in. That little win every day bleeds into their discipline of tomorrow. And tomorrow, it's about the small wins. And every day you need to taste defeat as well. Every day you need to taste defeat, and you need to have a small win. So you taste defeat, so you know what? Forget that. I'm going to win on this one. I'm going to be disciplined here. I'm not going to eat that candy. I'm going to go on that run. You know what? My run wasn't 6 miles today, but it was a mile today. I didn't want to do that mile. I did that. It's a small win. Tomorrow, okay, fine. I didn't do my 6 today. Let me bump it up to 6 tomorrow. And you didn't quit. Maybe you didn't do a 100% workout, but you showed up. And that is going to give you the confidence tomorrow to run your 6. You know what I'm saying?
Have you always been that way? Even like you mentioned that a lot of your kids come to you and they don't have that, but you help them develop it. Did you develop it over time, or do you remember if you think back to when you were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, did you always have that kind of discipline?
Well, the discipline, no. The discipline is a constant thing. Even today, there's a lot of things I'm not as disciplined in my life as I should be. there's a lot of things in my life. And like, just recently it was my nutrition and diet, you know, now I'm honing in and getting more disciplined with that than I was before. But I guess my confidence was instilled in me by my parents. Like I said, from the very beginning, they're my superpower. So from the very beginning, you know, my parents didn't just give me false confidence. They gave me like, oh, you're special. Oh, you're the best. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. And God did make you special. But it's up to you to fulfill that potential. That everyone forgets that part in school. And all the teachers and all the parents forget that second part. It's up to you to fulfill your potential. It's up to you to work to that standard that God has set for you. That God made you so special. You're special, but you're not all that you can be. You know what I mean? And to maximize that, to get to that process, you have to be disciplined and go through the fire, because it's either you're going to melt or you're going to be forged into hardness. You know what I mean? And through the life, it's either, you know, when you get cancer, you know, when you get diagnosed with that, what are you going to do? You're going to fold, or you're going to be stronger through the fire. You know what I mean? Like, what can you do? It's either you're going to live.
Make a decision.
Yeah, make a decision. You're going to choose to live the rest of this time in sorrows and like what ifs, and it's going to be so sad once they're gone or whatever, or you can enjoy this the rest of their time. I actually almost died when I was 16 years old. And that was a big change for me, because I'm supposed to be dead right now. They said I'd be dead by 24 if I continued what I did. I went down deeper. I made varsity as a freshman in wrestling because of my martial art background. So I lettered as an early freshman, and I was looking to. People were looking at me to go to go wrestle in college. I probably would have gone to college if I continued wrestling, you know. And I only wrestled so I can go pro by the time I was 18, you know, in MMA. And that just didn't work out. I almost died when I was 16.
What happened?
Left ventricle non-compaction disease. It's a type of cardiomyopathy, and it's like very rare that I'm survived. I was kind of like a lab rat for a long time and a spokesman person for Texas Children's Hospital, and you know all them.
It's like a surgery that saved you, or like what
no,
happened?
just I collapsed 2008, and then I finally came to, and they compared my heart to like a 6-year-old man having a heart attack, and I was almost dead by kidney failure. And then I went to the hospital emergency. They was there for a night or two, but they released me. I went back. They did further scans to find out that I had this heart disease I was born with, apparently, that you can't find out unless you do a specific test for, which most people do not do. So if you're just having kids now these days, always get them tested for everything, because a lot of people are born with this and you never know, and then you just die all of a sudden because you never knew, and your heart just stops. So I was one kid, and then I survived. A week later, another kid, similar problem. They died on soccer field. And then a week later, another kid, basketball player, died, similar problem. I'm the only one who survived, and it's very rare that I survived this type of case. So they like did all the studies on me, and they just kept me alive to like, hey, this guy's alive, you know, like, we got to study this guy. So that's why I was 16 to 18. Just going through all these medical studies, and I was like some lab rat, you know, to figure out like how this works out. And I had the most mild form of it. So the most rare form is like, you're like, boo,
yeah,
you know.
Do you still struggle with this now, or
no? I got cleared when I was 21. It's a God thing. It's a miracle, you know, like it's a miracle thing. It's a God thing. They said I was going to be born with this the rest of my life. They said I was going to be on medications the rest of my life, taking pills the rest of my life. I never took any pills. I like, forget that. I'm not doing it. If I'm going to die, I'm dying doing this. And that's fine with me. My mom, you're so selfish. Stop doing this, blah, blah, blah. Like, stop fighting, all this. First of all, it's fighting. You know, she never wanted me to do that anyway. She wanted me to do martial arts. And karate was fine. Point karate, break, time, point, you know what I mean? But she didn't want me to do MMA and full contact. That was like her worst nightmare. And my dad too. But I couldn't help myself once they put me in.
Yeah.
But the doctors are saying, you're going to be dead, dude, by the time you're 24, man. So you better just cut it out. Stop doing this, because you're just going to collapse and die one day. You could play a pickup game of football, flag football with your friends. You know, it's better than living the life that all these other people have that, like, they're more, it's more common. I'm the more rare one, but the most deadly, because there's no symptoms. These guys live longer because like, oh, I'm having a heart attack. Like, okay, pacemaker time. Like,
well, they show caution.
Yeah. Right, yeah. Well, it's not even they show caution. It's that they have like symptoms where like, oh man, like my chest is starting to, okay, give me the pen or give me whatever. Right. Like there's things that act up. For me, it's the most deadly. And that's why like, no one survives it, is because you just drop dead. Mm-hmm. And what happens is like a McDonald's straw. When you have a McDonald's straw and you just kind of chomp on it and like you don't get as much drink, well, that's the blood, the valve. Mm-hmm. And then the muscle is a heart. The heart's a muscle, so it grows and it suffocates the valve. And then I don't get blood to my lungs and brain. I just pass out. So, and then that was a crazy time. So that's from 16 to 21. All right. And I never drank, never did any kind of crazy stuff, never partied because I was so focused on martial arts. I'm going to go pro when I'm 18. I made a decision when I was like 5, you know. When I first started, I was like, this is what I'm doing forever. I'm going to fight everybody forever. You know what I mean? And then 16 to 21 happens, no training. I get cut from the team because of like, you know, they don't want me to die. Can't play football next year because they don't want me to die. So I'm all these things, super depressed. First time I started really drinking, like, you know, partying like a high schooler does. That was bad. That was a real bad time in my life, you know. Finally get through it at 21, get cleared. Then I get right back to I'm right back on the races, you know. Jump into my first Golden Glove tournament, which is my first time boxing ever. I got cleared 3 months later. I'm boxing, and like I never boxed before, and that's a totally different. Just because you do MMA and you do karate and you know how to throw punches doesn't mean you know how to box. I learned that out the quick way. I went in there brawling, throwing hands. He beat me. He won the tournament, though. I know it was a back and forth. He knocked everybody else out, but me and him went the distance. So I know that was the real championship fight. Yeah. But that was my first comeback was a loss too. You know, after all these years, and this is me going like undefeated in almost everything I do, like karate, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and then coming back, you know, at 21, 22 years old. Then I come back, get smoked in a boxing tournament. I'm like, I don't care. It's boxing anyway. It's not a real fight. You know what I mean? And that's true, you know. And I also wanted to try something that's different. It's a completely different sport, you know. Like jiu-jitsu. If I get tapped out in a jiu-jitsu match, okay, great. It's whatever. You know, if I get pinned in a wrestling match, okay, whatever. In a fight, if you beat me in a fight, then I'm going to start crying a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. But those are just sports, you know what I mean? Like you beat me in a soccer game, okay, great. You beat me in soccer today. You beat me in FIFA, okay, you beat me in FIFA. You beat me in boxing, you beat me in boxing. But like, you know, and also too, I threw a spin back fist, you know, I threw a bunch of hand combinations, but they're illegal in boxing. I'm like, oh, this is whack, you know? and then this guy was trying to like take my head off, and then I pushed him so I can, you know, for distance, and then like I got like points off a shove. I'm like, you can't shove. I'm like, how can we knock each other out? Well, we can't push each other, you know? So it was just a learning experience doing that. And that was like my first comeback from my heart problem. And then I just jumped into anything I could get my hands on. And then a lot of promotions like, dude, hey, Will, I know you had this heart problem. I know you got cleared now, but we don't want the liability. So then I went on a hiatus doing that. I didn't get a lot of fights because of that. Then I finally got fights and people never showed up. And then, you know, people like cut weight and I cut weight, make weight, we face off, and then they wouldn't show up to the actual fight. So it's like a bunch of that kind of, and then at 170, which is what I fight MMA at, that no one wanted to fight me because there's no footage on me because I never really posted about myself. I posted about martial arts and training and how-tos and stuff, but not about me, you know. I never got fight, so I went up to heavyweight. As I forget this, I'll fight anybody at heavyweight then. So I went up to like 185, 205, and heavyweight for K1, Muay Thai, and MMA. Beat those guys up, but I was like, dude, like, they hit too hard, you know, like that hurt too bad. You know, it's like I hit that guy with everything I could. He goes, ugh. I'm like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I need to be fighting my way. I hit that guy, he goes to sleep. I hit this dude, he's like, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, you know.
What's that feel like to hit someone as hard as you possibly can and they're just like shake it off and come right back?
Oh, it's the scariest thing in the world. I hit this guy with it's this 3-move combo. So he gets too close to you, boom. Give him the knee, let him back off. He keeps coming at you, boom, give him the teep. And if he keeps coming at you, plant, boom, give him the right hand, right, all to the same spot. And he just, he just ate all 3 of them. I was like, what's the next move? I was like, oh man, so I just had to get out the way, you know? He just came at me. That was at heavyweight for Muay Thai. So it's elbows, knees, punches. I remember he hit me so hard, and I felt like I was knocked out, but I knew I didn't fall. So I was like, okay, I didn't fall. But I was like this, I couldn't see. And all of a sudden, like, come on, you know, these punches coming at me, I had to get out the way. And when I hit him, he just like didn't do nothing. Oh gosh.
That's the ultimate form of discipline, if you ask me. To see that and just stick in it. Stick in it.
Oh, yeah. That's what I preach all the time. Thank you for saying that. I just told my brother last week, look, dude, I don't care what happens, just stick to the plan.
Yeah.
Just stick to the plan. I get back in that round, and I'm like, and I just felt like my head got knocked off by 2 punches. But I landed a million punches on him, but he hit me with 2, and I thought I was done. And I got back out. My dad, he'd always come out the corner, and he'd bring a bunch of towels, you know. I was like, you throw that towel, you're not my dad anymore. You throw that towel, I'm not your son anymore. You're done. I'm done with you.
I like that.
And then so this fight, you know, I was going for the heavyweight fight, and I was scared, dude. I was scared going into that one. I hadn't fought in a while. I didn't cut weight. I was kind of chunky because I was heavyweight. I wasn't running like I should have because I was heavyweight. I was just like, let me just like, you know, you beat this guy by like just grit and tiredness or technique. And then I get in there and he's taking all my shots. He hit me with that one stuff, and I look at my dad like, "Where's those damn towels at?"
You're like looking for one.
Throw the towel. You know,
Get me out of here with this dude.
He told me no. I'm like, damn, you know. So I had to fight that dude. There's no going out, man. It's just when you start, like, hey, it's like you're gonna quit or what? You know, like if you're gonna get whooped, dude, take it like a man and take that beating like a man. You know what I'm saying? It's okay if people get whooped in life. You know, you start a business, it doesn't always succeed. You know, you start a podcast, people don't always listen. You know, you make a reel, no one always likes it. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna take a beating, take it like a man. You know, don't make a post and then take it off because no one liked it. Like, what if you liked that post? You posted that because you thought that was good, right? You came out there and fought this guy because you wanted to do this fight. You wanted to prove something to yourself, knowing that you're not gonna fail or you're not gonna back down to the challenge that you put in front of you, because it's only you versus you when you fight somebody. If you think you're fighting someone else and you're missing the point. It's you versus you in there. And that's why I'm fighting at the end of this month. It's like whoever it is, they send me a match, I say yes.
Give me an example of a time where you were really challenged, where discipline was very difficult. Because some of these examples, like in fighting, I think maybe the discipline comes easy for you. Can you give me an example of a time where discipline didn't come so easy for you?
Starting the gym.
Okay.
Starting the gym. So starting the gym, you gotta be disciplined, and at first you're not always, because like, you know, the money you come in, maybe you go and use that money to go eat, right? You know, someone pays you to do this. Oh, I got some money today, and instead of saving it for the rent or for the lights or for something else, you use it on whatever is in front of you. You know, and that's a really common thing for everyone who started going into their own business. Mm-hmm. You know, let's just say you don't have that problem, but you have a stream of income coming from here and you're putting into your business. Okay, well, are you going to be disciplined with like the game plan that you're using that money for with your business? You know what I mean? That's another thing. It's just sticking to the plan. You got to create a plan. And then once you create that plan and you see that it fails, are you going to be so egotistical, so no, that's my way, like I'm going to make this work? Or are you going to know how to fold them when you need to? You know, that's another thing. Like in marketing strategies, I've tried all different types. I've hired people. I've done it myself. I've done Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube stuff. And then I found where I'm good at. I found where I strive in, you know, and maybe this works for other people. And some people, they don't even use marketing at all. And but they're disciplined in their event building. Right. You know what I mean? So there's also different types of things that I've learned for how you have to stick to the discipline and game plan, and showing up is 90% of any battle that you're going to be in. Sometimes, at the beginning, I was just like, man, I'm so tired today from working all day, training all day, and then to teach class. And then I'm like, man, this guy sucks. And he showed up. Not the good guys didn't show up. That's another thing as a teacher. Like, don't pick favorites. There's no favorites on your mat, you know? And when I was starting, I kind of had to, because I wanted to earn the respect of a real fight gym and a real fight team. I really wanted that at the start of 2018 when I first started opening the gym, first day. And we're in a little warehouse, you know. And I had a bunch of little high school kids, and we just show up to these fights and just smoke everybody in MMA and just walk out. And everyone's like, who are these guys? And we don't like them. They're like the bad guys coming in here. And we're like, we're not bad guys. We're just the bad guys to you. But we're the heroes in our story. You know, you guys are the ones standing in front of us. You know what I mean? And it was a discipline because I was still trying to fight and not getting fights. I was still cutting weight and not getting opponents and not getting, but I had to stay ready, you know. And I was also at that point in my life having to, people were, hey man, come help me spar with this guy because he has a UFC fight next week. So I'll be like, okay, where are my skills at? I'm going in helping these guys, be in good bodies for these guys. So I had to be disciplined as a fighter, disciplined as a businessman, disciplined in my relationship, because she was my girlfriend then, but she's my wife now, you know. And it's been a journey for her as well to that together, being in a relationship, you know, having to be a head coach. And here's the thing, coaching and owning a gym are two different things. I thought you could be all in one, but it's completely different hats. Mm-hmm. When you're the coach of someone's gym, you're only focused on the task at hand, which is this class or the curriculum that we're building or what's happening this month or the clients that we're doing or the new promotion. But when you're the owner, you're worried about lights, bills, liability, insurances, people getting hurt. The coach is making sure they're not being freaky with the moms, you know. That happens a lot more so than you would think, you know. The girls in here, are they Are they going to be this type of girl that you're trying to market for? Are these guys going to be these type of guys that you're marketing? Do you want these type of people in because they're going to give away the family type, or do you want the family in because they're not going to bring in the tough guy type, right? So it's just about sticking discipline to who you are, what your goals are, what your vision is for what you're doing, whether it be a business, a gym, a podcast, a YouTube channel, whatever it might be. You need to have a vision. You have to have goals, and the discipline to do something every day towards those visions and goals will essentially get you to the destination of success.
Do you have any specific strategies that helped you out in that time when you felt like you were struggling with discipline in that category?
Well, a lot of prayer, number one. Okay. A lot of prayer, because for me, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and if because of him I'm here today, obviously I should be dead, like we just talked about. But it just came down to that. There's a lot of lack of discipline in prayer, a lot of lack of discipline in trying to figure out with God what I'm supposed to be doing here. Am I supposed to be a coach? Am I supposed to be a fighter? Am I supposed to be a MMA journalist and publicist like I'm also doing with our Instagram and do media and stuff like that? These are all things that I love to do. But what am I supposed to do? That's a lot of people also, like you think you're in the gym business, or you think you're in McDonald's and you think you're in the burger business, but you're really in the real estate business. They make money selling burgers, but they make millions on their locations of real estate. Because if that McDonald's for whatever reason stops selling burgers, they own the real estate, lease that same thing out to Burger King. Now Burger King's paying McDonald's. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that's like, where are you in your model? Where are you in your vision? Where are you in your goal? Some advice that I've had to be able to help me is consulting other gym members, gym owners, people who have done this before. I go to them. I don't go to people who are, that's not going to happen. Oh, that's too crazy. Do you want to open up a gym in 2020? Everyone's shutting gyms down. You're going to open one up? Yeah, dude, I'm going to open one up because the martial artists aren't having this stuff. Like, they're all going somewhere. Everyone's training somewhere. Everyone's calling me, texting me that we're having training sessions up. People are stopping whatever they're doing and doing martial arts now. This is the time and this is the wave, and if I listen to my peers or people around me who didn't see what my mentors have seen, what others have seen that have done this before me, what they were doing, then I would have never thought to open a gym. I never had the confidence to open up a gym. And I'm constantly reading books on how, like, sales books, marketing books, influencer books, not like being an influencer, like influencing, the art of influence. How does Hitler do it? Like, get a whole nation to do what he wanted them to do? How does Kennedy rally up the whole America for, you have American pride in this country? Influence, like the ability to lead. I went in deep study on those type of things, those type of subjects, so I can hold myself in conversations when I meet leaders and people I respect and people I want to be like, and promoters. And that's another big thing, like marketers, promoters. Go and seek out those people, go hunt them down, try to converse with them, have dinners with them, take them out to dinner, pay for their lunch, pay for yourself to go where they're at so you can learn from them and talk to them and just maybe meet them, and maybe they'll like you and introduce you to their networks. And that's another big thing is I got into a bunch of different networks of business because I thought I was doing martial arts. But as an owner, you're doing business. And my product or service is martial arts. It's no different than Fabuloso. You got to market that. You got to sell that. You got to market yourself as a coach, and then you got to sell it. Like, hey, you want to come with me because X, Y, Z. Because of what you're going to gain from me is going to be the X, Y, Z. Why use Fabuloso? Because it's cheap and it smells great and it gets the job done, versus this one over here. So it's all about these business mentors, books, podcasts, seminars, further education that really helped me get into being a better businessman.
Yeah, so the main takeaway from everything that you just said for me was learning. And so if you're struggling in a discipline with anything, it's possible that you just need to learn more about that subject. And if, as you're learning about that subject, and your discipline is lacking, probably because your confidence in the subject is lacking. Those are the two things we talked about again earlier, right? Tie them together. If your confidence is lacking, your discipline is going to fall off. But by learning from other people that have been successful, surrounding yourself by positive people, you're instilling confidence into yourself, which allows you to stay more disciplined.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
That's great.
That's what is so beautiful about this journey. Whether it be the martial art journey, the business journey, the self-discovery journey. You know, it's about seeking what you're looking for. That's what people tell you what to think. They don't teach you how to think. That's what my parents have done for me. They
That's
tell
so
me
great.
how to think, not
great.
what to think. Because they, I promise you, they don't even agree with half the things I do. They don't.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah, you know, like I have a skydiving license. I've jumped out of a plane in a parachute by myself 28 times in my life. You know, I've done crazy things. I explored the world. I've gone through the jungles of Thailand to, you know, the mountains of the Himalayas. You know what I mean? In Nepal. Like I've been all over the world, done all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been to Dracula's castle. I was actually in a meeting with them earlier today. You know, I've been there before. I want to make an event over there now. That's crazy stuff. You know, they want me to be like, you know, go to school, get a degree, you know, be a doctor, be a lawyer, you know, stuff like that. That's what any parent would want, the best for your kid, the best financial, the best stability. But they also never, ever hindered my creativity, hindered my self and like my belief in self. You know, they're like, hey man, maybe you shouldn't do, maybe we should try this, or maybe you should go this way. Maybe you should try this. Like, no, I'm doing this. And this is where I'm going to, like, this is going to help me in this way. Maybe you don't see it, but this is what I feel. I know in my bones. And thankfully for me, of course, if, you know, a mom and a dad are going to be a mom and a dad. And they're going to give you, you know, their insights and their opinions. And they don't always align with yours. But at least they care. At least they're taking the time to tell you something maybe they've experienced before, and they want you to watch out for. So all the kids out there listening, all the young people out there listening, when your mom and dad are like, you know, on your butt, be appreciative that they're on your butt.
Yes, I agree with that.
You love that they're disciplining you, you know, and the Lord says too, like, don't get mad when I discipline you. And he's disciplining me plenty of times, and he's going to continue because I'm not perfect, you know. I'm not an angel, okay? I'm not, but he's still working with me. Like my parents still work with me. Like I still work with my students. Like I hope one day when my students become senseis and masters, that they will work with their students in that same such, you know? So in the same way.
Yeah, let's say someone was considering what you said, how to think, and they want to start this journey of, you know, thinking differently. And they think about going the martial arts direction to try to learn that. Like, do you have maybe, let's give them 2 like kind of good tips and 2 things to think about as they're starting this type of journey?
Number 1, always be humble. Never come in thinking you're gonna be too tough. You're gonna be too in great shape. You're gonna be, because like whatever. If you're lifting, you can throw 500 on the bench. You know, you can squat 1,000 pounds. Doesn't mean you can kick hard. You know, it means you can squat 1,000 pounds and you can bench 500 pounds. Doesn't mean you can punch hard. So always have that humble mindset. Even to me, when I go to any gym, I sign up for the beginner's class and let the coach move me up. Anywhere I go. They don't know me and I don't know them. I just go to beginner's class and like, hey man, like, you done this before? Oh, I have a few years. Okay, great. Well, I can see that you have, so come over here. You know,
that's great. That's a really cool thing. I've never considered that, or I've never been in a situation for that. But if I ever do, I'm going to make sure I do that.
Yeah, and it's also keeps you real humble too. Like, you know, in this beginner class, I'm not too good for this because I can always work on my fundamentals. I can always work on my footwork. I can always work on my jab. You know, and then your skills will show yourself. You know, will reveal themselves to you. And second thing, when you come and it gets hard, don't quit. That's the whole point of why you started, is to start a new life, and it's not just to start 8-week challenge. It's not just for the booty boot camp. It's not just for this 6-month kick or a New Year's resolution. No, this is a life-changing operation that we're doing here. So every day you come in is a self-gain. And you're going to taste defeat, which is the gain, is that you face defeat. And then you come back still tomorrow. And then if you're going to become a fighter, that's even a whole different thing of what you just asked me. Is the person who wants to get into the martial art journey and become a martial artist. You can start at 50. You can start at 70. Willie Nelson just got his 5th dan black belt in Kuksun Wo. It's a South Korean martial art. I don't even know if I pronounced that correctly. But
either way, I understand.
He became a 5th dan at that age. You know, still doing martial art. Willie freaking Nelson. And my sifus and my senseis, they still train, can like throw crazy kicks. You know what I mean? So when you come in, you don't ever quit. That's another thing. It's just a lifestyle thing. And that's the crazy thing about all my students who moved off to college, who move cities, and I got a student right now who just moved back to Florida, and it was real sad. He moved back from he came from New York. It was with us for like 2-3 years. Moved to Florida. I think he might be coming back soon. But either way, he's like, oh man, like I had to look up like Muay Thai gyms around here. Like it becomes like you're a part of who you are, you know? And that's what the beauty is. Like I would say that come with an open mind and just don't ever quit, even if it gets hard. That's what it's supposed to. It's supposed to get hard. It's supposed to be hard. It's fighting. It's tough. And you'll get through it. Once you get through that fire, you'll feel happy about it.
So stay humble, stay disciplined.
That's it.
All right, man. Hey, you want to shout out anything you want to, socials, stuff like that? You know, where you're located, what exactly you guys do, programs, stuff like that?
Yes. Please come see us. North Houston, Spring, Texas. House of Dragons International, guys. Go look us up on Instagram, House of Dragons International. We're on TikTok as well. We're barely relevant on YouTube. We're trying to do that this year. That's what we're trying to launch this year.
Same.
Yeah, we're just trying to grow. I got some fights under me that I got to get going on. I got my kids fighting. I got my brother fighting. Go follow the Senpai Marco. That's my brother. He just had a crazy knockout last weekend, and we're fighting for the belt. He's going to be the Houston Amateur champion in August after we smoke that guy. I'm fighting at the end of this month, Karate Combat. So go follow Karate Combat, guys. It's a really exciting striking league. It's the 70% knockout rates. So I'm good in there. I'm going to be throwing these hands. And I hope this guy comes out to bang because I'll come for his face. You know, I'll come for his head. So I'll come take him out, man.
I'd be scared if I was this guy. I don't know who he is. I'd be scared.
Yeah, I'd be scared too, you know. If he's fighting me, I'm scared of myself, you know. But yeah, I'm excited. He's going to be a good fight. It's going to be an entertaining fight. So thanks, guys. Come check us out in Houston, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. Sean, any last words?
I do have one question.
Okay.
We were talking about discipline and how you develop that in the ring and outside of the ring and how important it can be in both. But something that's a little bit more ring-centric that I've always heard about just watching different combat and sports and things like that is just killer instinct. How do you think that you develop killer instinct, and do you think that people are born with that as well?
I think that I was born with a killer instinct. My brother, I have to like bring it out of him. I think the best way, if you're an anime geek, the best way you can compare this to Goku and Gohan. Gohan is technically like the strongest Z warrior, right? He's got the biggest potential, right?
Yes.
But Goku has to bring that out of him to show him to unravel the layers of Gohan so he can find his inner potential. Versus Goku, he's like, it thrills him to see it.
He's always ready to fight.
He's always ready to fight. And, you know what I mean? My brother can fight. He does fight. He's a killer. But like, he's way more of a passive, like, nicer person than me. You know, I was born with this something inside of me. You know what I mean? And like I said, and he's technically a better fighter than me. I would say that he's like a better fighter than me. I'm more experienced, of course. I'm older. I've had more. He's not a pro yet, of course. But at his age, at that same time, like if I compare us two as a fighter at the same age, same experience, he's far greater than me. He's also big, and it's also been me pouring into him and all the coaches I surround him with and all the guys surround him with. But that's something my brother is like, that was developed in him to be able to knock someone out like he did yesterday. And other fights, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? First round, like, wake up, dude, get it going. And we've had to develop that through his amateur career. So yeah, it's something that's my brother is an experiment of that, like that I've gone through as a coach to develop that in him because I knew it was there, but I had to develop it.
You had to kind of pull it out of him. Some people haven't. Some people it can be developed in them.
Exactly, you know? But it's in everyone.
Yeah.
But it's like not as apparent and others, you know.
Gotcha.
So it's in you. But maybe he's quicker than you are to like turning that on, and that's what we have to self-discover and like develop.
Yeah. The self-discovery phase is so important. And if anyone's never started their self-discovery, you know, it's a really fun journey. And you should definitely start doing that.
100%, guys.
All right, cool.
Oh, that's all I got.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you being here so much. Guys, go see Will, House of Dragons. If you want to do anything martial arts related, sound like this guy has everything that you need. You want to rip somebody's face off, he's got you. You just want to learn how to stay disciplined, he's got you there too. So go see him, come see us, obviously, for the personal training situation. And we'll see you next time. Later.
Peace.